I mean, I went in the studio really fast after, maybe like 10 days after the tour finished. So, maybe not 10, but like 2 weeks maybe after the tour finished. And it was just because I think the tour was like very inspiring to me, and I felt like I knew what kind of music I wanted to go and make. So I kind of wanted to just jump on that feeling and go in and start doing it. So yeah, it was really fast. I think by the end of the tour, I just felt like, oh, I know what I want to go and make right now. I'd say the album making process is so long and it's so self-indulgent. You're kind of navel gazing the whole time, that it's bound to kind of come in peaks and troughs, and sometimes you feel so good making it, sometimes you get frustrated and you get really self-conscious about stuff. And I think the freeing part of making this album was I spent quite a long time kind of thinking about what I guess success meant to me, and I think during the course of making the album, I kind of redefined, how I defined success, and just through like conversations with friends and working and kind of, there was, a while where I was thinking about what kind of record I should be making, and Tyler kind of just said, you have to just, I at one point was kind of saying, I feel like I need to make this now. He kind of said, you just have to make the record that you want to make just right now. Like, it's the only thing you can do. And that really stuck with me. And then talking to another friend, we were kind of talking about, he'd said, like, if you're happy, then no one can tell you that you're unsuccessful. And I kind of thought about it and kind of looked back into the times where I've felt the best about work stuff, and it's always been when I'm the happiest. So I think kind of adopting that frame of mind and having that sense of, oh, well, if I'm making stuff that makes me happy, then I'm going to feel really good about it, rather than trying to keep everyone else happy, was like really freeing and very liberating to kind of let go of a lot of the strings that I'd kind of held on to for a while, about what numbers something had to do and how many streams something had to have and that kind of thing. So it was really nice to kind of let go of that. Yeah. I don't know, actually. Lights Up was the most unorthodox, probably the most unorthodox song I've ever made. It was written via like voice notes when I was writing it with Tyler. So we were kind of, he'd sent me a track and we were kind of sending voice notes back and forth with stuff, and then I was writing and wrote the lyrics and stuff, and then we kind of got together in the studio to record it really quickly. We don't usually do that. And then on the second day, I kind of said, we need to get the choir in to do the choir stuff. And usually we do all the choir stuff right at the end, so that was kind of strange. It was like, is this too early to put the choir on? And then we put the choir on, and it just kind of made the song and kind of took it to a different place. And I think my favorite part about Lights Up is I don't really know what it is. I don't know like what the song is, even when I hear it now, or if it comes on the radio or something, I'm kind of like, okay, it doesn't necessarily make that much sense to me, but I think realizing that it doesn't always have to make sense is part of the part of it that makes me like it, I guess. I mean, I've always found writing to be really therapeutic, and when I'm sit down to write a song, I don't usually think about it coming out, which I think helps to be open when you're writing it. It doesn't feel like, you know, if I write a lyric that's like really personal, I don't, in that moment, I don't go, ooh, but what if people hear this and know what it's about? Because I write the songs for me, I think. I guess compartmentalize like how I feel about something in like a 3-minute song, and then get to kind of pack it away a little bit and, you know, kind of be like, all right, well, that's how I feel about that, so now I can, you know, carry on with life or whatever. But yeah, I think the songs that I've always connected to the most are always just the most honest, and I just try and do that with my music, I guess. Treat People with Kindness was the last song that was made for the album. I'd always had an idea after the first tour that I wanted to do a Treat People with Kindness song at some point. Had no idea what it was going to sound like, but kind of thought it'd be cool at some point, and thought, kind of was a bit like, is that too corny? You know? And then I think when I was in the studio and we were kind of playing around with this idea, and Jeff Basker said, why don't you just do that? Why don't you just say that? Which has kind of been a theme with him. He's pretty good at kind of just pushing that thing. It was kind of the same thing with when we wrote Kiwi. We were kind of laughing about how funny it would be to write a song that said, I'm having your baby, it's none of your business. And it was kind of a joke that we had. And then he came and was like, why don't you just do that? And we were like, okay. And then it was kind of the same with Treat People. I think when I first made the song, I was really confused by it. Had no idea if I loved it or hated it. And because the same, I think, I just didn't know what it was. I was like, I've never made a song that sounds like this. It kind of makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. And then I realized that that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, and that it didn't mean it wasn't good, because it made me feel weird. And now I love it. I don't know. I don't know if I really think about it like that. It's such an interesting thing. I think you go through like different moments with the songs, because you obviously write them and then they're kind of yours for so long, and then you start playing them to people and you hear them in a different way, because you start to think, oh, I wonder how it sounds to that person who's never heard it before. And then by the time you're playing it live, it's just like, it's kind of taken on a whole different, it's like taking on a whole different thing, I guess. But I wouldn't say nervous, because there's songs that are obviously sadder than other ones, but I'd say if I like really hated something, I'd be more worried about singing it every night. I like everything, and it's all pretty honest, and I'm happy that I have those kind of snapshots of moments. So, yeah, I don't think of even the sad songs in like a negative way. I try and kind of think of them as like a positive. I'm very excited to go to Mexico. Very excited to go to Argentina. Brazil. I mean, everywhere really. Argentina on the last tour was just this kind of, the show was just kind of like this next level thing, and I didn't really remember a show that had made me feel like that really ever. It was just, there was so much energy in the room, and definitely holds like a special place in my heart. So I'm definitely excited to go back to Argentina and Mexico and always Japan. I mean, when I look back now, it's kind of crazy that we managed to do a full show out of the last album. Um, so I think with the new album, it's so much more joyous and it's so much more fun and free. And a lot of the songs, I think, feel like they were made to be performed live. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to feel very free and joyous,